Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Richard Cruz, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Wing Commander Linda New. We're honoured to acknowledge Rear Admiral Andreas Olsson, Special Advisor, Department of Acquisitions, Research and Development, Ministry of Defence, Sweden, and the accompanying delegation. We also warmly welcome delegates from Lockheed Martin Corporation Australia and NATO, Defence Directorate of Indigenous Affairs, Defence Indigenous Entry-Level Program participants, Work Exposure in Government Programs 2018, as well as members of the Mineral Council of Australia and the National Council of Priests delegation. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors and students on behalf of the following schools. From New South Wales, Tullabajil Central School Primary Department, Nepean District Christian School, Primary Department, Mulgoa, and Chaplain Family Home School. From Queensland, St Patrick's Primary School, St George. And from Victoria, Mary MacKillop Primary School, Calore Downs. I invite you all to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students, you may be seated. If there's anyone else in the public that can be seated, you're welcome to do so. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's first World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Lieutenant Alexander George Gilpin. Alexander Gilpin was born on the 20th of August 1873, the second son of John Alexander Gilpin and his first wife, Dorothea. Alex was born in Sandhurst, Victoria, and when he was 6 years old, his family moved to Ballarat. His father had extensive mining interests in Bendigo and Ballarat, and Alex was educated at Ballarat College. When he was 15 years old, his mother died. The following year, his father remarried and later had more children. Alex went on to work at a bank before becoming a stock and share broker. He also maintained a strong interest in the military, gaining a commission in the local battalion of the Citizens Militia, along with his older brother, Tom. In April 1900, Alex Gilpin and Tom enlisted for service with the 4th Imperial Victorian Contingent for service in the Boer War. They left Australia later that month, arriving in South Africa at a time when the British were conducting a counter-offensive against the previously successful Boer mounted troops. The brothers later separated and did not serve closely together. In August 1900, Lieutenant Gilpin wrote a letter home to wish his father a happy birthday. He noted, "We have got into the fighting in real earnest now. We went at full gallop across the open under a very hot fire, and all the troops in the rear gave us a great cheer. The bullets were raining all round us. We took the position and the Boers retired to the next ridge. We only had one man shot, poor fellow." From that point, Gilpin's troops were kept for important scouting details. The day after writing his letter, Lieutenant Gilpin and his men had retired to the Boer village of Otto's Hope. A New Zealand surgeon there at the same time described the village as smelling terribly of dead horse all over the place. "We are almost unable to graze our horses here at all, and it seems much harder to hold this town than the place we were halted at further on." That evening, the garrison in Otto's Hope came under heavy enemy fire. The New Zealand surgeon was not far away when Lieutenant Gilpin was shot. He wrote, "Gilpin was killed by a bullet through his lung and heart. He did not live many minutes and was dead when I got to him." Alex Gilpin is buried in the Zeerust Cemetery. He had been killed on his 27th birthday. His brother, Lieutenant Tom Gilpin, was welcomed home the following year, although his return was tinged with regret for the loss of his brother. His father reportedly felt the loss of his son keenly, but often declared that he was proud to know that his son died in defence of the Empire. Alex was not his only son to die in war. Alex's half-brother Anthony would be killed in action during the landing on Gallipoli in 1915. Alexander Gilpin's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among 605 Australians who lost their lives in the Boer War. His photograph is displayed beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lieutenant Alexander George Gilpin, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.